He's jolly, he's beloved. He's also a corporate shill. Before you at me, hear me out. Santa Claus, the bringer of joy, wasn't always rocking a red suit. Shocking, I know, but before Coca-Cola got involved, he was a more free-spirited dude, sporting furs and rocking different looks. Then Coca-Cola came along. They slapped their brand colours on Santa, making him their jolly, soda-swilling mascot. This wasn't just about selling sugary drinks, it was about owning Christmas. And guess what? It worked. The Coca-Cola Santa became the iconic image, burned into our collective consciousness. Think about it. When you picture Santa, what does he look like? Exactly, it's a marketing masterstroke that's lasted for decades. Talk about effective advertising. But behind the rosy-cheeked facade lies a darker story. One that involves environmental damage, human rights violations, and a whole lot of corporate greed. Buckle up, folks, because we're diving deep into the not-so-merry world of Coca-Cola. Let's talk plastic. Specifically, the mountains of plastic bottles Coca-Cola churns out every year. We're talking billions, folks. And where does all that plastic end up? Clogging landfills, polluting our oceans, and wreaking havoc on the environment. It's a plastic problem on a planetary scale. Sea turtles are choking on plastic bags. Whales are washing up on shore with stomachs full of plastic waste. And yet Coca-Cola continues to prioritize profits over the planet, pumping out more plastic bottles than anyone else on Earth. They claim to be working on solutions like recycled plastic. But let's be real, folks. Recycling alone won't solve this crisis. We need systemic change, and that starts with holding corporations like Coca-Cola accountable for the environmental mess they've created. Next up, let's talk about water. You know, that essential resource we all need to survive? Well, Coca-Cola guzzles it down by the gallon, often in places already facing water scarcity. Take India, for example. Coca-Cola's operations there have been linked to severe water depletion, leaving communities high and dry. Farmers struggle to irrigate their crops, families struggle to access clean drinking water, and Coca-Cola, they're still raking in billions, their thirst for profit seemingly unquenchable. It's a similar story in Mexico, where Coca-Cola's insatiable thirst for water is draining aquifers and exacerbating water shortages. The company claims to be water neutral, but that's just corporate doublespeak, for we'll take as much water as we want and pretend it doesn't matter. Section 4, bitter taste of success, human rights violations and Coca-Cola. From environmental destruction to human rights abuses, Coca-Cola's rap sheet is longer than a CVS receipt. In countries like Colombia, the company has been linked to violence, intimidation, and even murder of union leaders and workers who dare to speak out against their practices. Imagine being so afraid for your life just for demanding fair treatment from your employer. That's the reality for many working within Coca-Cola's supply chain. It's a bitter irony that a company known for its sweet, sugary drinks leaves such a bitter taste in your mouth when you learn about their labor practices. The new Coke fiasco might be a distant memory, but the company's history of exploitation and abuse continues to leave a stain on its legacy. It's a reminder that behind the shiny marketing campaigns and catchy jingles, there's often a much darker reality. Section 5, a global thirst for change, resistance and hope. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer scale of Coca-Cola's impact. But amidst the environmental damage and human rights violations, there's a glimmer of hope. People around the world are waking up to the true cost of Coca-Cola's practices, and they're demanding change. From grassroots activists to international organizations, a global movement is building. They're holding Coca-Cola accountable for its environmental footprint, demanding transparency in its supply chains, and fighting for the rights of workers. It's a David versus Goliath battle, no doubt. But as history has shown us time and time again, people power can move mountains. The fight for a more just and sustainable future is far from over. But with each plastic bottle refused, each voice raised in protest, we inch closer to quenching Coca-Cola's thirst for profit and reclaiming our planet.